Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
I'm here to save the day. I'm here to save the day.
Soon I will be invincible. Because comics. Welcome to Because Comics. This is episode 43. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host, the wishful thinking, Mike Christensen.
You know what would be great?
What would be great, Mike?
If everyone could just ride bees.
Bees? Wait. Now, we need some clarification here. Does that mean we were all as tiny as bees, or that bees were the size of people? Because one of those options is pretty terrifying. Actually, both of those options are pretty terrifying. Well, here's the thing. If we were smaller, a lot more horse options, right? I mean, we've got crickets, we've got ants, we've got bees.
Here's my problem. If we're all smaller, we are much further down the food chain.
Yes.
But we're
also still humans, and we still have all our technology,
If they are
right?
bumblebees are much, much easier to deal with. Like, they are a much more manageable...
You mean if they were bigger?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they would be. I mean, horses can kill you if they kick you in the face.
Elephants also.
Elephants too. Lions. Man, let's start naming all the animals that can kill human beings.
Or talk about comics.
I guess we could do that too.
Every episode, we talk about what comics we're reading every week / month / whenever the new issues come out.
Indeed.
Jay, what should we read the next time it comes and drops on our shelves?
Well, guys, I think you should all be checking out DC's Martian Manhunter, written by Rob Williams and drawn by Eber Ferreira and Eddy Barrows. Now, this comic is interesting because what it is basically doing is saying, hey, care about Martian Manhunter, which is tough to do.
because people don't?
Most people don't. Now, the reason is when I often ask my friends to describe me who the Martian Manhunter is mostly just listing his power set, which is crazy long. But what this really means is John Jones is kind of a weak character. I mean, he's really just Superman, but from Mars, which isn't really compelling. I mean, that's basically that character.
Yeah, he's the last son of Mars.
Son of Mars, except he's green and he doesn't have all of the Lex Luthering or all of the back stuff. I mean, really his main villain is just white Martians and fire, which isn't super compelling for arch nemesis. But basically what the series does is Rob was like, you know what, I'm going to flip the table, or in this case, the two-dimensional piece of paper that is John. So Rob Williams basically looked at John's backstory and was like, yeah, he can still be a Martian, and scratched everything else. So, dead family? Nope, those were false memories. Sole survivor? Nah, lots of Martians still about, mostly white Martians. Stoic lonely hero. Manchurian candidate style super weapon who is heavily conflicted about himself, who he is, and his purpose. Yeah? Any questions?
No.
No? Okay,
I will, in fact, have to find out by reading the comic.
Yeah. But yes, this uncertainty, this self-conflict he has, is basically the catalyst for the story. And real quick, what is this story? So short version, white Martians have infiltrated every corner of Earth and are trying to resurrect OG Mars at the cost of the Earth itself. Terrifying.
Sure.
Martian Manhunter story, he's trying to stop it. Also, he dies in issue 2. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yes.
And there's plenty of weird stuff to talk about.
Or burying the lead, I cannot decide.
Okay, now, sure. There's a bit about one of Mars' moons actually being a giant monster with teeth fueled by Martian blood magic, but I want to talk about another character called Mr. Biscuits. Now, this
is Mr. Biscuits another moon?
He's not another moon.
Okay.
He's a kind moon. No. Now, this series certainly has some wild, crazy ideas, which you haven't heard any so far.
No, that's true.
But the newest character, Mr. Biscuits, is certainly the standout. Who's Mr. Biscuits, you asked, Mike? Well, let me answer that for you.
I didn't, but because I'm still hung up on the other things you said.
Well, at first glance, he appears to be another green Martian like John. What? Only difference is he's basically crazy, surprising with a name like Mr. Biscuits,
sure,
and desires only for the sweet taste of biscuits. He also wields magical nunchucks and loves Paul Blart the Mall Cop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does Martian Manhunter still have Oreos? Is that still around?
Yeah, actually it is. It is. Actually, playfully so.
Okay, so the Biscuits is like
it's really the cornerstone of this comic. Yeah. No, the Biscuits is a bit of a counterpoint to that Oreos.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, if you guys want to figure out the secret of the Oreos, you're going to have to read this series. Now, what does any of this have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Well, you see, each issue is intricately weaving the lives of 4 seemingly random individuals together to tell the story of John Jones, which I think is actually pretty amazing to use an ensemble to tell the story of a character who is usually known for being very solitary and lonely. It's a very interesting new take on it, and there is really, really smart stuff, not just bat crazy stuff here. Now, this ensemble includes a female thief from Dubai named Pearl, an FBI agent from the States, an old man from Ghana, and oh yeah, Mr. Biscuits. Now, there is another layer to this, a big layer, and it definitely...
Everyone's dogs.
Everyone's dogs. And I definitely wasn't kidding about that death in issue 2. And yes, there are 6 issues out by this recording, so what exactly does that mean? Because the series is called Martian Manhunter, right? Now,
He's dead.
I could certainly tell you what this big old major piece is, but that would spoil the absolutely bonkers puzzle that Rob Williams has constructed, deconstructed, and asked us all to insanely piece back together, and I dare you to give it a try. So guys, if you like moons with giant teeth, if you like biscuits, I don't know, I think you guys would really enjoy this comic. It is bonkers, and it is really fun each issue just trying to piece together what exactly is going on.
It's funny that you mentioned that it's an ensemble about a solitary character. They did something interesting like that when Greg Rucka wrote for The Punisher.
Oh, really?
Where The Punisher was definitely not the main character, which is probably the difference because this is more centered on John. The Punisher was kind of like the shark in Jaws in that series because you had all the main characters.
People just talking about him
and then seeing him. Like, you didn't really get a lot of time with him until like 4 issues in because you just had the cops who were like dealing with the cases that the Punisher was dealing with, or like the reporters and things like that. And then like the girl who was the victim of the crime that the Punisher is avenging, and like she's got her own thing going on. And it was a similar approach of like, here's a character, we've tried making him the main character before. With the Punisher, it had worked and people liked it. They just wanted to try something different.
Right, of course. Punisher's not super difficult to make a very I would maybe not relatable character, but interesting character.
That's the thing, is like, you can't really make him relatable. So they were just like, why would we try? Like, let's just take away all that narration and just make him a monster.
We'll put relatable characters talking about him in each of these issues.
Once you can't see inside of his head, he's terrifying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He is the most frightening thing in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, of course. I mean, he's terrified supervillains. So, I mean, that's pretty scary.
The Martian Manhunter, though, it's interesting because, like, he also doesn't have a supporting cast. Like, that's what separates him
he never does.
From Superman in a lot of ways.
Which is probably why he's never really had a strong solo series before. Because, like I said, his main arch enemies are White Martians and Fire. And that's not a lot of comics that you can get out of that.
Not really. And, like, that's what, like, Green Lantern has a supporting cast, you know, in addition to people on Earth, like, all those ones in space.
Tons of people in space.
And, you know, you have...
And now all those lanterns. They were just like, you know what? Just more lanterns. Let's just make all the lanterns.
Rainbows.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, and guys, does sound pretty nuts, and it is to a certain extent, but it's a really interesting take and almost a deconstruction of the Martian Manhunter and kind of giving you a new focus on the character, and honestly kind of giving the character its due.
Yeah.
Because in most cases, I have to imagine someone trying to do a solo series for Martian Manhunter previously got halfway through and was like, okay, well, at some point he gets set on fire and he shapeshifts and uses his telepathy, and man, this guy's super powerful. What am I going to do about this?
Yeah.
And that's basically the conflict every time. So this kind of takes him off the table in so many different ways, but doesn't. Anyways, guys, check out Martian Manhunter. It's pretty fun. Mike, what is your pull for this episode?
My pull is Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl from Marvel.
Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl.
Yes.
That's not a loaded title at all.
It's written by Brandon Montclare and Amy Reeder, and the art is by Natacha Bustos. And it's interesting because Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy is a comic that's been around a little while. It's a Jack Kirby comic.
I've heard about it.
For those who don't know, it's set on a, I believe, parallel world where dinosaurs and early humans cohabitate. Sort of like the Good Dinosaur, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Has anyone seen that? Did you see that movie?
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't either.
But the main character is like an ape boy named Moon Boy, and the dinosaur he rides, Devil Dinosaur, I think is a mutant.
Wait, what?
Because
the dinosaur's a mutant?
I think so. His eyes are on fire.
Yeah, but Mike, are you telling me most dinosaurs didn't have eyes on fire?
I can't confirm that.
You
I will
can't?
just tell you that based on a scan of Wikipedia, it looks like the dinosaur has mutant powers.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say based on a scan of Wikipedia, I don't think dinosaurs had fire for eyes.
I mean, that's also true.
That's probably also true.
This is a comic about a girl named Lunella who lives in the modern world, not in caveman times from another dimension. And she's brilliant. She's one of those like super geniuses of the Marvel Universe who should be studying with the Future Foundation or, you know, whoever, the Horizon Labs, except she's not.
Oh.
Her applications keep getting rejected from all of those places. And she's stuck being a super genius in a classroom full of lame brains like us.
Which I'm sure is so fun and not infuriating at all.
Yeah, I have to imagine that's just how everyone wants to spend their elementary school through high school period.
Yeah.
I don't know how old she is. I think she's elementary school.
She could be 50. Who knows?
Yes, she could be 50.
That's one of her powers,
I
right?
think she's like elementary school, middle school.
Okay.
But the comic, only one issue is out at this point, so I don't want to say a ton, but I will tell you that it's not really a spoiler that Devil Dinosaur
It's a dinosaur, right?
shows up in modern day New York.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that makes sense. I have to imagine at some point they must meet. Either she
Yes.
goes back in time or he goes...
Or through that
Or paralleling
wormhole, yeah.
worlds, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just interesting because Moon Boy is like a monkey guy,
Oh, that's right.
and she's like a girl from our world who knows like science and things. So they're gonna have a very
Their
different
conversations
dynamic.
are pretty in-depth,
Yeah,
right?
I would
They've got a lot of
imagine.
things to talk about.
But it's gonna be interesting. Oh yeah, Devil Dinosaur doesn't speak, but all the
But
primitive.
Moon Boy and, I guess, Moon Girl in this case, do.
Yeah, Moon Boy and all his semi-human companions / enemies from that world do. And yeah, it's a weird, like, only a one issue, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm sold. Cool, show me more. I am interested to know more.
I mean, it's a great premise. Extremely smart girl teams up with dinosaur with fire for eyes. I mean, that's kind of a great recipe.
I mean, guys, that's comics. Like,
that is
this
right
is
there.
why we
that's
do
kind
it.
Of the perfect. That's kind of the perfect statement of comics right there.
Yeah.
Did she name him Devil Dinosaur?
No. Moon Boy calls him Devil Dinosaur.
But he doesn't talk. Does he like shoot lasers out of his eyes, or is he just a big old dinosaur?
Well, Jay,
Oh.
if you'd like to know more,
Ah.
check out Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl from Marvel Comics in your local comic shop or Comixology.com or wherever other fine comics are sold. That's by Brandon Montclare, Amy Reeder, and art by Natacha Bustos.
Sounds nice. All right, guys. Well, that was a great pull, Mike, and that'll take us into our main segment. Mike, kick things off.
Sensation Comics number 14, Wonder Woman's Christmas Tree, is what I've decided to call this story. This comic is from February 1943.
Ooh.
This is from Sensation Comics number 14. This is the equivalent of Action Comics for Superman or Detective Comics for Batman. This is the series that Wonder Woman appeared in.
Oh, awesome.
And this is written by William Moulton Marston, who created Wonder Woman.
Oh, so
And-
this is like OG.
Oh yeah,
Wonder
this is
Woman.
her 14th appearance.
That's amazing.
And also, William Moulton Marston created the lie detector.
Whoa.
Interesting.
Also a fun fact.
Yeah.
That's right.
Lasso of Truth.
Oh, whoa, really? That's
Yeah, when you think about it.
crazy.
Yeah.
Why didn't we all get Lassos of Truth? We got that dumb machine. He should have just made a bunch of those.
Anyway, the art is
You're like, I'm
by...
going to avoid that rabbit hole.
Skipping over that. The art is by H.G. Peter. And the story opens with a picture of Wonder Woman on skis holding two children racing down a snowy hill with, pine trees around her.
Okay.
And the narration reads, "Yes, I know I'm only a fir tree, and you're going to ask what I have to do with Wonder Woman. Well, fir trees often wind up as Christmas trees, and that's what happened to me, but not before I had the most fantastic adventure of my life, when I met Wonder Woman.
Wow. Okay, so this comic opens with narration from a tree.
My name is Abiz Balsamia, but my friends call me Fir Balsam.
No.
I grew I grew on top of a lonely mountain all alone. Trees love to murmur and whisper together, but I had no complaints until I met Wonder Woman, who understands tree language."
What?
That's page 1.
That is a lot to digest. Hold on a second. So this writer, the creator of the lie detector,
The creator of Wonder Woman.
of Wonder Woman and the lie detector, was sitting around going, we don't know enough about trees and their languages and their relation to other trees.
Tolkien was having the same thought around this time as well.
Apparently, it was on a lot of people's minds. Why don't we ever talk to these things?
So,
Wow.
we joined...
We're at the peak, right? We're only going down.
Is that a mountain pun?
That was a mountain pun. Continue.
The story has Major Steve Trevor and Second Lieutenant Diana Prince, Army nurse, visiting the village.
Oh, she's an army nurse.
She's an Army nurse.
Oh, okay.
Visiting the village of Greenville on the Canadian border. So I think we're in America, but on the border with Canada, looking for escaped German prisoners from Canada being smuggled across the mountain.
Oh, one of those people.
They split up to investigate, and she understands the fir tree is trying to tell her that there's a secret Nazi meeting spot by the tree.
Of course.
She-
Wait, what?
She changes...
Her spy is a tree?
Yeah.
So they were rolling with this. This wasn't like a funny imaginative, like, wouldn't it be fun if a tree had an adventure?
No. The tree is talking to Wonder Woman and telling her, like,
It is
advice.
a central character in this story.
Yeah, she changes into her Wonder Woman clothes for some reason. She finds a Nazi code hidden in the tree, like a note, a coded note
That a Nazi left or the tree left?
that a Nazi left in the tree.
Okay.
She decodes it. She finds out where the Nazis are hiding in a nearby cave. She hides her clothes in the tree. She asks the tree to keep an eye on her clothes, and she skis away. Then two little children lost in the snow, show up at the tree, Teddy and Babs. And Babs is sleepy, and the tree realizes if the girl's sleepy and not cold, she must be freezing cold. Like, that's not good. Her body should be telling her cold.
Yeah, like, hey, you're awake. It's
not
really cold outside.
Sleepy. The tree drops Diana's clothes to them so they can bundle up and stay warm.
Wait,
like,
what?
Yeah, the tree's like, oh yeah, I bet Diana won't mind. Oh yeah, by the way, Diana identified this tree was trying to tell her something when it reached out to her.
Okay, so the trees have now, they can also move. Like,
They are somewhat animate, but it
Okay.
doesn't look like Ents by any means. It could be the
just
wind.
any tree.
It could be the wind.
Okay.
Yeah. Teddy starts a fire, and the two kids talk about how, I guess, a year ago, their mom hired a man to help look after them, a large blonde man with an accent, a German accent. His name was Karl Natz.
What?
N-A-T-Z.
What?
Yeah. He got a bit handsy with the beautiful Fraulein, who, insists, I am not a Fraulein, I am a Frau. This is not appropriate. But her husband came in, got the wrong idea, beat up Carl, packed his wife's things, drove her out to her mother's, left her there, tore the Christmas tree down with his bare hands, made the kids never talk about their mother. That was a year ago.
Whoa.
So he reacted very poorly.
Yes.
Mr. Carter did. This year, the kids plan to sneak away and visit their mother for Christmas.
Of course.
For gifts, Babs hemmed a handkerchief all by herself.
Oh.
And Teddy bought a diamond ring for 10 cents.
Wait, what?
He's been saving all summer.
He's been saving 10 cents for a diamond ring?
All summer, it took him to save up 10 cents.
Okay, so...
And then he bought a diamond ring with 10 cents.
Okay, so this explains two things. One, either we have been screwed over by diamond people for years, which is actually kind of true.
Still true.
But I mean...
Regardless of whatever you say
Or
next.
diamond rings were cheap as crazy heck back in the day. Like 10 cents? Well, I could
Also-
get some bubble gum and some beef for dinner or a diamond ring.
Also, was his allowance a penny a month?
Yeah, what?
Anyway, at the fire by the tree, back in the present, they grieve they've lost their way, and they mention, oh, well, father will beat us. Oh, well, back to find the way back.
Oh, well. Oh, well, our life is horrible.
However, two men in German aviator uniforms show up. Those uniforms are identified by the tree, who somehow recognizes
Aviator uniforms?
what German aviator uniforms look like.
This tree.
Very well read.
This tree is well read,
don't-
which is disturbing to think because that would mean it is essentially reading dead trees, right?
Ooh, interesting.
It is.
Maybe it's like a collective.
Ooh, this corpse has a lot of
Maybe it's like a
interesting
collective
information.
unconscious. Once a paper that is made out of a tree.
Oh, and
learns
ink is written on it?
something, It's
Ooh.
just, that's interesting.
Mike, we're writing some Wonder Woman fanfic right now, and it is solid.
Anyway, these German men approach, and they realize, the tree realizes these
good,
must
good,
be the
good.
escaped prisoners from Canada.
Of course.
But she can't warn the children.
Well, yes, it's a tree. But that's not to say that this tree can't understand aviator outfits and also hug people sometimes and also drop clothes on people. So, but it would be crazy for this tree to warn the children somehow. I mean, it would be insane.
The Germans discover the kids. They also notice that the hidden message is missing.
Wait, what?
The coded message. That's,
In the tree?
Yeah, Wonder Woman took it.
She ripped it off the tree?
It was like in a knot in the tree, or like below the roots.
I thought like somebody might have come up and like carved a
No.
message into a
It was
tree.
like tucked under the roots.
Oh, gotcha.
Jay, this story is so clear and concise.
I don't know why I was confused. I was thinking about maybe a sentient tree for a little while. I got lost.
Weird.
Weird.
They accuse the kids of taking the message. The kids say they didn't. One of them agrees to take the girl back to her house to steal food and supplies from her. He's able to find the trail because he's a woodsman and not a little girl. And they get her home. And as soon as she is like standing in the kitchen holding a basket full of like bread and stuff, her dad promises to whoop her. But then, oh look, there's a Luger in his face. And
Oh, no.
he gets tied up, and the girl carries the basket of rations while the German walks them both through the snow with a gun pointed on them.
Oh, so the Germans took them back to their house to steal.
Took only the little girl.
Took only the little girl. So the little kid's still back by the
The
tree.
little kid's still back by the tree.
With no supervision? Just
Well,
taken off
with the other German. There's
with the other
two
German. Okay,
German
okay.
soldiers, yeah.
Went, got food from the house, tied up the father, took the little girl back to the...
And the father. They're walking both of them
both
back through the snow.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they're together. The girl gets a little too tired to carry the supplies because I can assume they are hiking up and down a mountain.
Yeah.
And she is maybe 7?
Yeah.
At most.
Ooh.
The Nazi decides to give them both a long rest. He takes the basket of food and plans to shove them into a ravine so the snow will cover their bodies until spring.
Oh, no.
The old man doesn't put much of a fight up. He says he would have a year ago, but now he doesn't care if he dies. It is also not just his
What about
call.
his daughter?
It is like your daughter is there as well.
Like, okay, buddy,
You
you've given
jerk.
up, but like your daughter.
Wonder Woman sees this and skis in to save
Right,
the
our
day.
main character. I forgot about her. There was all this business about trees.
She's taken about a 4-page hiatus. And the Nazi sets the food down and then turns and Wonder Woman is there. He shoots at her, but the bullets bounce off her bracelets. And rather than think, oh, her bracelets are indestructible, he thinks, oh, she's bulletproof. Which, yeah, I would do that too. Because
guess?
the whole idea of bulletproof bracelets really falls apart when you don't have bulletproof wrist bones.
Yeah, that's true. They would break pretty fast.
But even if she's super strong, like not the rest of her is bulletproof. I don't know. Whatever. Point is, he's like, oh, well, shooting her doesn't work. So here's the narration from the tree. Hitler's horrible hoodlum threw his gun at little Babs and kicked Carter savagely, knocking both over the cliff.
Whoa!
Wonder Woman races in and catches them in midair and makes a flawless landing. The type that Fur Balsam, while Fur has seen many skiers, has never seen anything like that before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For Balsam hasn't seen superheroes before?
Not a skier like Wonder Woman.
But
Is
for
what you
Balsam,
mean.
to be clear, has seen a lot of aviators. So has seen some flight tricks
Yeah,
and fancies.
I mean, Fur Balsam wasn't born yesterday.
I mean, yeah, of
Counter
course.
rings. However, as Fur Balsam tells us, a tree can see things equally well on all sides. While watching Wonder Woman, my other side saw Nan Carter with Carl Knotts climbing up from Mill Junction. So Carl offers to lend Nan Carter a hand, and Nan refuses, and Carl says, oh, come on, just come away with me, you were turned away by your husband. And she's like, wait, did you lie to me about my husband wanting my help and wanting to see me again? And he's like, yeah.
What?
And then he ties her up and starts walking with her to the cave where all the Nazi agents are hiding.
Oh, good.
Across the ravine from them, Jeb and Wonder Woman see Carl and Nan Carter, and it does not look from there like she is tied up. You can't tell. It just looks like they're like walking arm in arm.
Just kind of hanging out.
So he goes insane and tries to lunge across the ravine in rage because he just super wants to die, I guess. I don't know.
He really does.
Wonder Woman lassos him in midair, swings him around to safety, but before he hits the ground, she's like, oh wait, I have an idea. Keeps swinging him a full circle and has him land on the other side. And
to get across the ravine.
Yeah, and then she ties her end of the lasso to a stump and walks across.
Can't you just fly across?
Scales across. No, she can't. She has an invisible jet, remember?
Oh, I was going to ask that question, but didn't you say she swooped down and caught them when they were falling into the ravine?
On skis.
Oh, okay. How did, you know what? I don't need to ask that follow-up question.
It's a silly question. I don't think you know it.
It is a silly question.
Anyway, she climbs across on the lasso with the little girl on her shoulders, and then she pulls to free her lasso. She knows that it doesn't catch. She can't get it loose, so she just tears the trunk
Oh, good.
out of the ground. And Fur Balsam tells us, tree roots are deep. It takes dynamite to pull a stump, but Wonder Woman is dynamite.
That's pretty amazing.
It's flawless. Wonder Woman guesses the Nazis will return for the coded message, so she puts it back, and she has Jeb tie her to the tree. So any Nazis who will find her will think that one of their gang captured her and left her there for the other Nazis to deal with and dispose of. That sounds worse than I think they intended it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But she's hoping that they'll take her to the cave. She sends Jeb and her daughter to go to look for Steve Trevor in Greenville, along with Etta Candy and her holiday college girls, who are, according to Wikipedia, a girl group, like super team, like fighting force.
And they're called the Holiday Girls?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's fine. We're just going to move right along.
gonna-
They're somehow led by Steve Trevor, but really led by Etta Candy. It's fine. Just Wikipedia. I promise it's not going to make any more sense if I try to
It
explain
doesn't.
it.
It doesn't make very much sense at all.
A Nazi named Fritz, of course, finds Wonder Woman.
Right.
And uses the coded message to figure out
Did
where...
this person only watch The Sound of Music and was just like, we're going to use all of these names?
Oh, you mean Marston?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
He uses the coded message to go to the Nazi cave with Wonder Woman on a very literal leash. Yeah. The Nazis, when she walks into the cave, they do a little catcalling, but surprisingly PG catcalling, given the circumstances. Just
That's
like,
good.
you're going to enjoy your time here. Oh, look who Fritz found.
Which,
It's like,
if it was under other circumstances, could just be, at like hotels and stuff. Like, you're going to enjoy your time here at
yeah.
Homewood Suites.
She knows if she breaks loose now, the Nazis might hurt Teddy, because she knows, I guess, the Teddy's here.
Sure.
Carl Nantz arrives. Sorry, Nats. His name is Carl Nats.
Yes, let's not forget that.
And he says he saw Steve Trevor out on the mountain with those fighting girls. Apparently, he knows who all of the people in that sentence are.
Those fighting girls that we all know about. Anyways.
They think that Trevor must know where they are in the cave, which I guess they do, because if they've gotten word from Carter and Babs, they do know where the Nazi cave is. So all the Nazis just run away. Fritz chains Wonder Woman up to bars on either side of a door, which I don't know why there are bars on either side of a door, but they're perfect for Wonder Woman holding her arms out so you can't open the door past her. Then he rolls a rock in front of the room Wonder Woman's in and leaves to go fix Trevor and his female army. The door starts thumping behind her, trying to open, and she says, the direct quote, ouch, stop spanking me. I'll be good.
Oh boy, that's
It's probably, at this point, I should probably mention that William Moulton Marsden had a lovely family dynamic. You know, lived with his wife and his children and his mistress and their children.
Oh, what was that last part, Mike?
You heard me.
It was a wife, and then there was also a mistress and her family.
All living under the same.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, wholesome.
A lie detector. He invented a lie detector.
I think we know why.
Yeah. He had a lot of questions.
But it's Teddy Carter on the other side of the door, banging on the door.
Oh, okay.
Wonder Woman pulls her arms free, because of course she does, and tells Teddy to stand clear, and then breaks through the door. And it looks awesome. It looks like a Superman comic from the same time. It's just like barrels
through the door.
Exactly. Nan Carter is also there, chained up, but Diana asks her to stay chained up. She said, I have an idea that will help you win your husband back after this year of estrangement. Diana and Teddy roll the stone away. I think we can guess who's really doing most of the heavy lifting on that stone.
Yeah.
Although she says, like, oh, good job there, Teddy. And he's like, yeah, that mostly wasn't me, Wonder Woman. I promise.
I cannot move this.
On the mountain, Fur Balsam watches Steve Trevor and his girls heading up the mountain towards her place. Then the mountain explodes beneath the tree, beneath Fur, and she starts riding this avalanche down towards...
Which must be exciting.
No, she's terrified.
Oh, no, that's
And she's, heading straight towards Steve Trevor and her forces. But then Wonder Woman shows up, somehow uses the tree to stop the avalanche.
What?
It's very unclear.
How
it just
does
says,
the tree stop an avalanche?
It just says, she used me to stop the avalanche. And then it says, like, then 10,000 pounds of pressure later, or whatever it is. Like
I have to imagine,
10,000 tons later. And she recognizes this tree. She sets her down gently and says, my poor, beautiful Balsam, you are battered, but together we have saved some precious lives.
They have.
Meanwhile, the Nazis are floundering in deep snow, and they're no match for Etta Candy's troops, all on skis, of course.
Of course.
Wonder Woman leads Jeb Carter up to the cave and shows, look how Carl was holding Nan, look at all the chains and stuff. Jeb apologizes, says he's been a fool. Nan forgives him, because Nazis are the best defense in the world.
They are.
Wonder Woman carries Fur Balsam up the mountain and plants her in the Carter's yard. Fur even gives the top of her to be a Christmas tree, and, Jeb even helped trim the tree that year.
Oh,
and that night,
Jeb, we knew he had it in him.
And then Wonder Woman comes in that night with a sack of toys, and she says, she hopes she remembered everything the children want. Playing Miss Santa Claus is the most fun of all. And it's dark, and there's the moon, and there's literally a man on the moon smiling in the background.
Wait, what?
So it's clearly nighttime. So the comic's just casually like, oh yeah, Wonder Woman is Santa Claus for this family, which implies, if you draw a straight line, that your parents or someone else that you know is Santa Claus, not Santa Claus, because she doesn't bump into Santa Claus.
Oh.
So is this comic implying that Santa's not real? Because here's the thing, Superman's met Santa Claus, so we know Santa Claus is real.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure Santa Claus has teamed up with almost every famous comic book superhero.
At least in DC.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Well, here's the thing, Mike. They're pretty close to Nazi territory, and as we know, Santa Claus does not deliver presents to Nazis.
They are on the Canadian border.
Oh, okay.
They are in America.
Oh, okay.
So
hold on. No answer for you.
Yeah.
No answer.
Just, this is a weird story.
Yeah, it is a weird story.
As I texted Jay, I just said, I read the first line of this comic, and I know what we're going to talk about for Christmas.
Which is, quite frankly, the most amazing thing ever uttered at the top of a comic.
I think so.
And also, we got more of the mythos of trees. We kind of skimmed over this, but they can see 360, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Through their bark?
Yeah.
Or do we need to explain it? We don't.
No.
Because it's amazing.
I'd rather we didn't.
Wow. That was an amazing main segment. We all realized that Wonder Woman truly is Santa Claus. Well, guys.
And also, trees are real.
Trees are real.
And they talk to each other.
So when you cut one down, feel really bad.
Wonder Woman can understand them.
Wonder Woman can talk to trees. Has this ever come back in another comic?
I promise you I don't know the answer to that question.
Wow. Somebody, if you know that Wonder Woman has talked to trees in other comics, please let us know and send us those comics. We want to read them.
We will talk about them on the air.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Well, that was our main segment, and that'll take us to our game, Super-Mundane. All right, this is Super-Mundane. This is the game where I name a mundane task, activity, or occupation, and Mike and I will have to decide which hero would be the best and which hero would be the worst from Marvel or DC at this specific task, activity, or occupation. So, Mike, the Super-Mundane for this episode is who would be the best and worst librarian?
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, librarian, I feel like you got to be respectful. Quiet is probably required of this occupation as well.
Hulk. No.
Hulk for sure.
You also have to be smart. You can't just be the quiet person who's keeping everyone quiet.
You got to know the Dewey Decimal System. Very difficult. Barely anyone knows it.
Yeah.
You also have to probably know a lot about books.
Yes.
You know, got to know authors, got to know things that you can refer to people, like, hey, maybe check out this book, or also this one.
You got to be passionate about it.
Exactly. My first gut instinct was Doctor Strange, but probably going to be a bad librarian because that library is horrifying.
Yeah, that would not be so great.
It's a scary library.
But it's weird because a lot of other people would not do a good job.
No, probably not. Now, Thor probably has a pretty cool, like, Viking library, but also he's probably a bad librarian.
Yes,
because
I would think...
Probably drunk, probably forgot where he put all those books, and also, he's Thor.
I'm inclined to go with Oracle.
Oh, yeah.
She's nerdy.
She's kind of like a digital librarian.
She is.
Like the ultimate digital librarian.
She's got a passion for learning that we don't see with that many heroes.
That's true. Some of them are just like smart. It's like, yeah, I'm smart, but do I care to know more? Like, they're mostly just street smart, while Oracle is quite literally street smart, but also book smart. She loves to read.
Well, even the geniuses, like, they are smart and they build things. They don't really research.
Yeah, there's like, I made this thing. I think it works. Oracle is probably the best choice for librarian.
I feel like, I can't think of
anybody else who would possibly be better. Batman? No, his library is super scary.
He also, like, he does not devote the time to organizing that. That's Alfred's job. You know that.
That is Alfred's job. Alfred, great librarian, but not a superhero, unfortunately. Not yet. We haven't gotten to year 150 of Batman comics.
Yeah, we know what Jace pitches when he writes Batman.
I mean, when I write Batman, it's primarily Alfred Central.
Yeah.
The time has come. So...
Oracle. Barbara
pretty good pick. So I think she's going to be our best.
Yeah.
So who's our worst librarian? Which there's a lot of choices for worst librarian. Ghost Rider, terrible librarian.
Which is funny because you might think like, oh, Ghost Writer. That must be right. And he's like, no, Ghost Rider.
No, Ghost Rider. He is driving a motorcycle through that library. But
Dupe.
Oh, yeah.
Dupe be real dad.
You mean Dupe, the mutant that looks like Slimer, basically?
He looks like Slimer. He speaks a language no one else can understand.
Yeah, that's pretty tough to make recommendations.
He sleeps through most of the day. Mm-hmm. He drinks and parties. He is currently, I believe, like in charge of the...
He's in charge of something?
Yeah, I want to say it's like the information desk or something at the Jean Grey mansion.
The information desk?
Something. He's definitely in charge of some sort of...
What are we going to do with this mutant who no one can understand? I know, make him in charge of the information desk.
And the implication is that actually, because they did an issue that was all about him, and
That's not surprising. You mean they did an all one issue about a character named Dupe that looks like Slimer?
Yeah.
Weird.
And the implication was that he has that job because he helps protect the school when, like, no one's watching those parts of the school.
What is Dupe's power? I know we're getting sidetracked a little bit, but what is Dupe's inherent mutant abilities?
He is a product of a comic called X-Statix. And hang on, I want to read you the description. He is a green floating spheroid creature of unknown origins who speaks in a language all his own, represented in text by a special font. Abilities: flight, accelerated healing factor, superhuman strength and durability, physical malleability, ability to replicate physical objects, extra dimensional void within body that can store objects and people.
What? What? That last part is crazy. Wait a second.
I'm sorry.
Wait.
That last part
Say that last part again. What was that?
Extra dimensional void within body that can store objects and people.
Okay. Now, Mike.
Dupe is said to be the product of a Cold War era U.S. military experiment
that
becoming instrumental in the fall of the Soviet Union.
Is amazing. Now, Mike, can one posit with that last bit of power that Dupe is a walking library?
Yeah.
Dupe, interesting character. So I think Dupe's up there for worst librarian, because clearly, bad. Would anyone be put in charge that is worse?
I mean, I wouldn't say Dupe would be put in charge, but he has been put in charge.
Yeah, like, and if he's running the information desk...
He was a substitute for Kitty Pryde's Intro to Religion class. No one could read the board.
Wow, a lot of bad decisions.
The headmaster's Wolverine, so everything's
pretty good. Everything's well thought out. Mike, I think Dupe is the answer.
Dupe. The one true way is Dupe.
The one true way is Dupe. I could also in so many ways argue that he's the best.
Yeah, I could see him getting the job, which is one of our fun criteria of like, oh yeah, like you would definitely like want this person to have the job. And then like, why would you do that? Like, why would you think that was a good idea? That was a dumb idea.
Yeah, and like if you have like a compound and you're like rambling off assignments for people, like I could see like librarian being one where like, and Dupe could be like a librarian. Like he won't get up to anything crazy in there, right? And like, of course he would. But yeah. I mean, that's something that I could totally see him filling that.
I feel like the X-Men have a bunch of those. Like you could see like, oh yeah, Toad could be a good librarian, but like he's a good bad librarian because like he gets slime on everything.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Beast would be a good librarian, but
Beast would be a really good librarian.
but I think he's got a little bit of ADD. Like he'd make a device that would go get the book for you.
Yeah,
and it
he
would
would-
knock over all the shelves.
He would be more interested in reading the books than being a librarian. He
Yeah.
would be in the aisles, hung upside down, reading said books.
Yeah, it's
which
true.
would be terrifying
Slash
if you didn't know he was going to be there.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, yes, both of those things. But again, if you don't expect Beast in an aisle, that's pretty scary.
Oh, I always do.
Oh, you do? Oh, good.
Everywhere I go, I just expect.
Because I'm a fan of Ghostbusters, I expect ghosts in every library that I go
see,
into.
there you go.
See, I'm often, in fact, if I saw Dupe in a library, I would be ecstatic.
feel right at home.
No,
You'd be ecstatic.
I would be ecstatic. See what I did there? Didn't
Like
do
the
it on
comic
purpose.
he was in. This is a pun-heavy episode.
This is a very
guys.
fun-heavy episode. So, guys, I think we've kind of nailed it repeatedly.
Well,
with
no,
this.
yeah, we had it right away. We just needed to tell you
We
guys.
just-
This was just
so
a
much about
ploy to
Dupe.
tell you about Dupe.
So, guys, that's it. Our best is definitely going to be Oracle because, I mean, she is definitely the best.
She dispenses information on the regular. That is a thing that she does. Not as much now, but as Oracle, yeah.
Exactly. And, of course, Dupe has got to be our worst, for sure. But also, in so many ways, the best.
We'd read the comic. I'll tell you that
absolutely
for
would.
free.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Well, that was episode 43 of Because Comics. We'll be posting a new episode every other week. If you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com. That's arc with a C. Of course, you can email us any questions at becausecomics@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr, all at Partial Arc. And be sure to check out more content from our comic boy wonder Mike Christensen at partialarc.com, where he writes articles every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks for listening, and remember...
Celebrate the holidays with some Christmas spirit. Warning, side effects of Christmas spirit might include hauntings, magical realism, or realizing the old man you thought looked like Santa Claus was in fact Santa Claus. See a doctor immediately if your heart grows 3 sizes or more. Additionally, if you have the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2 for longer than 4 hours, please call your doctor.
What?
And remember,
Trees are real?
that's way better than whatever I was going to say.
The thing that's in your living room is or was a lie.
Because comics.